this week. Aram Jivanyan joins us this evening from BeSafe to talk about some interesting crypto technology and proxies. We're going to learn all about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do Paul's printer hacking adventures, which is even more hilarious than it sounds. Some funny stories in there and some great stuff. In the stories this week, I guess we got to talk about the big headlines. Marcus Hutchins, we got to talk about that. We're going to talk about Salesforce and what happened with some of the researchers at DEF CON. We have to talk about, what else are we talking about? If you're ready for a pen test or not, attacks against assembly lines, and Microsoft issuing some out-of-band security patches. Is that pretty much, is that jive? I'm getting a very curmudgeon-y look I think from Jack Daniels.
Maybe one or two that I forgot to add in, which I'm going to do now.
Okay. And more from Larry. All that and more on to this edition of Paul's Security Weekly.
This is Security Weekly. For security professionals, by security professionals. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where exploits run wild, packets aren't the only things getting sniffed, and the cocktails flow steady. It's Paul's Security Weekly. Brought to you by Logarithm's Netmon Freemium delivers real-time network visibility to quickly identify emerging threats in your IT environment. Netmon Freemium is a free commercial-grade network forensics and traffic analytics solution. You can use Netmon Freemium's powerful capabilities to search against all observed network traffic, identify abnormal traffic patterns and application usage, and quickly analyze full packet captures. Take the first step towards real-time network visibility. Visit logarithm.com/freemium to learn more and download it today. The SANS Institute, the most trusted source for computer security certification training and research. Visit SANS.org to explore their full curriculum and latest training offerings. NetSparker, the developers of desktop and cloud-based web application security scanners that enable you to automatically identify vulnerabilities in your web applications and web services. NetSparker scanners employ a unique and dead-accurate vulnerability scanning engine that automatically verifies vulnerabilities with their proof of concept. For more information, visit them on the web at netsparker.com or email at contact@netsparker.com.
And welcome to Paul's Penis Weekly. Let me introduce your host, the master of penis, Paul Asadorian.
Welcome, everyone, to Paul's Security Weekly. That joke in the beginning will make sense once Jack stops dropping his phone and once I deliver my technical segment.
Yes, it will.
Because it's hilarious. And
yes.
I'm very excited about it.
And it's a great way for you to improve your penis. I mean, security.
Yes. Penis security, same thing. You'll learn why that is in just a few moments. Here with us in studio is the security expert.
Wow, I reserved that title for you, my friend.
Larry Pesci.
We were joking before the show that, you replace penis with security, like we used to make fun of movies.
Replace security with
penis, right? And then it would be Paul's Penis Weekly, and it would be a really short show.
Yes. Yes.
Is that WEEKL or WEAK?
I think there's medication for that, Jack.
Weekly.
Yes.
Either way. Speaking of Jack,
he's here in studio dropping his phone incessantly. Welcome, Jack.
What? Where? Oh, hey! I'm in the studio with you guys. That's kind of cool.
It's awesome.
He doesn't sound like he's too convinced about that.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that your binky?
This is Suffering Bastard, my traveling companion.
Oh.
He and I travel the world.
I thought it was your traveling butt plug, but okay.
No.
You should give it a sniff.
But he travels the world with me, and he's a terrible wingman. He gets the ladies, and I end up going back to the hotel alone a lot. It's nothing like
does.
traveling with a block of wood and coming back to your hotel room and seeing a towel on the door. It's like, what the? Sleeping in the car again. But anyway.
I worry about you, Jack. I really do genuinely worry about you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It's definitely a couple of nights with hotels.
He's got some scratches on him, so I started using the line after I hand him to somebody. It's like, he needs a little tongue oil.
Oh.
Speaking of scratches,
Speaking of spirit animals, Jeff Mann is here with us. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
there's-
All good curmudgeons have to have an alter ego. This is mine.
It's very nice. Did you get that at like the Disney store, the not Disney store? Like what? Do I
No,
want to know?
I got it at the HP VIP party in Vegas.
Oh, they were handing out stuffed animals.
Yep, they were handing out the wolf.
The
So
wolf.
I'm Mr. Jeff Man. This is Mr. Wolf Man.
Got it. Wolfman. Glad
nice.
we got all that cleared up
it's Wolfman Jeff as opposed
before
to
we
Wolfman
started
Jack.
the show.
There you go.
Okay.
Couple of quick announcements. Make sure you check out itpro.tv. They've got, excuse me, a supervisor portal where your manager or your employer can go sign up for an account. They can use our discount codes, itpro.tv/securityweekly. Use the code SW30. Get 30% off for the lifetime of your active monthly subscription. And then assign training modules to you, keep track of your progress on training, and hopefully follow my advice and give you more time to do training because training is important.
Absolutely.
That's my message that I like to add on there. So, with that, I would like to welcome our special guest this evening, Aram Jivanyan. Is it Jivanyan or Jivanyan?
Jivanyan.
Jivanyan, I thought so. Okay. Aram Jivanyan is here with us from BeSafe. Aram, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited
Aram,
to be here.
yes, we're excited to have you, Aram.
On
How
the
did you
other
get
side
down?
of the ocean, right?
So where are you located?
Now I'm in Yerevan, Armenia.
So you're actually in Armenia. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were
Yes.
your offices were there. That's awesome. Well, it's nice to have you, Aram. How did you get your start in information security?
Actually, I started from cryptography. And I started to do cryptography research since 2009 because I was just too excited of politics and I wanted to build an electronic voting system. And a voting system which enables voters to vote and verify whether their vote was compromised or not without breaking the confidentiality of the vote. And this led me to cryptography. So this is how I started to do cryptography research.
Very nice.
About seven years ago already.
Excuse me. And so you've gone on to start a company called BeSafe. And
Yeah.
explain to me what proxy re-encryption is. What is proxy re-encryption?
Yes. So we have founded a company called BeSafe.io, which goal is to make it easy to send to collaborate and send end-to-end encrypted files over modern cloud applications. And the problem is modern cryptographic techniques such as PGP or OpenSMIFE, they are not suited for modern cloud collaboration. They highly limit how the encrypted data can be shared. Because they are based on public key cryptography, which enables collaboration only for limited patterns, such as when Alice can send the encrypted file to Bob, or when Alice sends the encrypted file to set of recipient known in advance. But PGP does not enable to send to encrypt file and share easily when the recipient set is not known in advance, or when it's confidential, or when it changes over time. So we are building our key management based on proxy re-encryption cryptography, which is a new cryptographic algorithm invented maybe 10 years ago in MIT University.
I like how that in cryptography and encryption times, that's new, 10 years. It's very nice.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of methods that we are using, actually, the standard methods have been invented maybe at the late 17th or the beginning of 18th, right? The RSA and the Diffie-Hellman
Right.
crypto system. So proxy re-encryption is a new type of public key cryptography where the semi-trusted server called proxy server can take a ciphertext, encrypt it under one user's public key, let's name it Alice. So the proxy server can take a ciphertext and alter it without decrypting it. So the resulting ciphertext can be decrypted by the second user, let's say Bob.
And
So imagine a scenario when Alice, for example, encrypts all his files and puts it in Dropbox. And at the moment when he wants to share it with Bob, he just creates a proxy key specifically for Bob. After which, having the proxy key, the proxy server, in our application, it is our servers, BeSafe servers. They are enabled to provide access to the Alice encrypted files to Bob.
And now, so does Bob have to send his public key to do that re-encryption?
Exactly. The Alice should know Bob's public key in order to create the proxy key for Bob. The proxy key is generated by Alice by using Alice's private key and Bob's public key.
Gotcha.
After which, Bob can take any ciphertext encrypted under Alice's public key, send it to BeSafe server, and get the re-encrypted version back. The re-encrypted version can be already decrypted by Bob's private key.
That's
This
pretty
is
cool.
how actually it works.
Right.
So if you don't mind, I can even share my screen to show some very basic stuff, how I am sharing the encrypted file via Slack. So Slack, and you can see how our Slack bot just manage access for the encrypted file for all channel members without needing to touch the file, without needing to perform any cryptographic operations for granting access.
Gotcha. Sure.
Uh-huh.
It depends on which Skype machine you're on if you're able to share your screen or not.
Should I try now?
You can try. I don't think it's going to work, though, because of the Skype machine that you're on.
Okay, let's try. Tell me if it works or not. Can you see my screen?
No, we can't. Yeah, it's because we're using the media version of Skype,
Okay.
Skype TX.
Okay,
It actually
okay,
doesn't let you
okay.
share your screen.
No.
Okay.
We can try and get you back on another Skype machine if you want. We can talk amongst ourselves while we switch you to a different Skype machine, Aram.
Okay. So let's continue. Let's continue without sharing screen. I will just try to explain.
Okay, we can do that.
Now the question is, will his camera come back?
Yes, it did for John the other day. 'Cause
Okay,
John
good.
tried this. John's like, "Oh, let me just share my screen really quick." And we're
No.
like, sorry about that. We just learned today that Skype machine does that.
Damn it.
Well, because it's made for broadcasters to bring people on to the show. So
Right, audio and not screen share.
video, audio and video, right?
Audio and video, not screen share.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And this is a step forward for us?
Yes, apparently so.
All right.
Thank you, Microsoft. 2 steps forward and 3 steps back.
I don't think "thank" is the word you
As
wanted
always.
Nope.
to put in front
Definitely
of
wanted
you.
to search and replace that with my postscript.
So should we continue or?
Yeah, try if you disable your video and then re-enable it. Sometimes they get you back. So right now we're just seeing the Skype icon.
What about now? I just restarted the video.
Sometimes,
Okay.
Jeff, your thoughts on this technology while I wait for Aram to come back?
I'm waiting to see the pretty pictures to try to get a better idea of what he's talking about. I'm also looking at their website now and trying to read up on it. Yeah, well, all I'm reading is 2 paragraphs. I need to find the details.
Yeah. I think he's going to give us a demo of the details.
I hope so. I mean, what he was saying about public key cryptography is basically, it's good for what it was intended for, which is not, high-speed data transfer at the speed of the web. So if you're trying to do high-speed, fast encryption, that doesn't lend itself. We sort of figured it out with SSL and TLS, except for we didn't because it's all broken. But well, he's back.
Hello.
Here.
And so I'm back.
Yes, let's try sharing the screen now. Now it should work.
Okay, let's try.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, I see my screen. Oh, great. Okay, so you see my screen. Actually, this is one of my Dropbox folders, and actually you can see that all my files are encrypted with BeSafe, and they are safe now. So let me just go back to my desktop. I have one encrypted file here. Oops, I incidentally double click, and you can see just when you have BeSafe encrypted file, when you are logged in, they just like and behave just regular files. But now I just wanted to show how sharing works. So I have one file. This is one of my favorite books that I'm reading now. I'm right-click, and you can see on the context menu that for each encrypted file, I can see it. I can look at permissions and access analytics. So you can see that this file it does not share it with anyone at this moment. Let's get back to the desktop. I'm just taking this encrypted file and uploading it to my Slack. So the file was uploaded, and you can see that our bot, BeSafe bot, took it from there, and now it's managing decryption access for all channel members now. And voila, you can see that it's done, and all channel members got access to this encrypted file. You can manage access from your portal, which means we already can see that about 1,000 people got access to this file, which is the book of Chris McCormack, I'm Here to Win. You can see that some people, some access are still pending because these are not BeSafe users. The others are already granted access. Those are already BeSafe users, and they are in my circle of trust. I can revoke any access anytime.
So, Aram, did you trust the Slack channel and say if anyone has BeSafe that's in the Slack channel, they can decrypt this file, or did you have to allow those individual users manually?
Actually, it's just a subject of implementation. But now, we assume that when a file is shared in some channel, it is assumed that all channel members should give access to the file.
Gotcha. Okay.
Except Slack, so we just want to enable end-to-end encryption. So we want to protect our files from third-party service providers getting access. So we protect it from cloud breaches. We protect it from snooping government. We just make it easy to share and collaborate within our team.
Right. So you didn't have to add all of those users' public keys to the document. The BeSafe service took care of all that.
Actually, I should have all these people to my circle of trust. In BeSafe, from user experience, you just add them to your circle of trust, let's say to your contact list, which from cryptographic point of view means that you create proxy keys for these users.
Yep.
As soon as they register to our service, and you can get their public keys and you create the proxy keys. But this is a step which should be done only one time, after which you can easily share any encrypted file with anyone from your circle of trust. This is how it works. And we designed BeSafe to preserve native cloud collaboration experience for any cloud, whether it's Slack or Dropbox. And moreover, we want to preserve the interoperability of clouds. So for example, imagine you put all your stuff in Dropbox in encrypted form. Of course, you should be able to easily share it via Dropbox, but you also should be able to share the encrypted file from Dropbox instantly to Slack, and it should work. You should not, your encryption software should not be online all the time to manage access. And you should not perform any new cryptographic operations to grant or revoke access to file anytime.
Now, what happens if the user's public and or private key pair, or I guess they would both have to change? What happens if that changes?
So you mean when the user changes public or private key?
Correct.
In this case, you should regenerate proxy keys. You should update the proxy keys as well. So if you are in my circle of trust and you just rotate your keys, it means that the proxy key should be changed as well. In that case, I should do some crypto operations to renew the proxy keys.
Do you get a notification that someone in your circle of trust has changed, their key has changed?
Not now, but this is something that can be easily done later. So we are still pretty in early stages, so lots of development still needed, but
Gotcha.
BeSafe, yeah, but it works actually. You can encrypt any kind of file, whether it's Office documents, PDF documents, video files. BeSafe now is integrated with Dropbox, Slack, and Google Drive.
Mm-hmm.
So you can collaborate in end-to-end encrypted way over these cloud services. And now we are building the enterprise version of BeSafe. And by the way, we have been accepted to Techstars Accelerator program, which will start in September.
Nice.
We have been accepted to Paris program, and we hope to build the enterprise business with Techstars.
Excellent.
Awesome. Jeff, questions for Aram?
A few. What public key algorithm are you implementing?
Actually, this is the proxy encryption algorithms. This is a new type of public key cryptography. So it's specific public and private keys.
Mm-hmm.
The theoretical algorithm is based on the crypto researcher papers of Matthew Green and Giuseppe Attanis. It's MIT and Johns Hopkins University researchers.
Okay.
But this is actually the novelty. It's not standard RSA algorithm or Diffie-Hellman are not based on standard.
Okay.
This is
where can one read up on it, or what should I Google to learn about it?
Yeah. Just Google proxy encryption, and you will get the papers the most.
Okay.
It requires specific elliptic curves implementations, actually, pairing-friendly elliptic curves. So there's a lot of mod there. We are using basic cryptography libraries, open source libraries done by it's called Miracle Library. It's again still research in the research mode. So.
Right, but
not very famous. So we are a pioneer company bringing this to industry. So you cannot find much libraries on this yet.
Okay, so it's a variation of public key cryptography, if I'm understanding correctly, and you're really trying to solve the problem of what I would call portability of files. You're trying to move files around. You're trying to make files available for collaboration. And in the old days, you would have to exchange keys with every recipient, and you're solving that problem, right?
Exactly. Okay. Because the collaboration patterns have been changed since so when PGP, for example, PGP was designed in pre-cloud and pre-social era, right? It cannot provide the flexibility and the efficiency of sharing and collaboration that modern cloud application provides. So,
right.
Jeff,
to
to answer your previous question, I'm sure you remember that in the paper from 1998 by Blaze, Bloomer, and Strauss that proposed the notion of atomic proxy cryptography, which is what it's based
Oh
on.
yeah, I have that right over here on my bookshelf.
Actually, I'm not surprised.
I have an autographed copy.
And it's autographed.
I'm actually also not surprised.
And I'm bullshitting you.
No, atomic proxy encryption, I believe, was the first version of this kind of algorithms, but which doesn't actually it has some security drawbacks. For example, in this scenario, what we have Alice, we have Bob, and we have the proxy servers, right? And we want Alice to create a specific proxy key for Bob, which should not imply that there is automatically a proxy key created from Bob to Alice.
Right.
This is a security property not ensured by the algorithm of Blaze, not ensured by the
You're
atomic
still
proxy.
implementing the one-way functionality of public key, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
But with a group. So in other words, instead of just allowing access like I would in an access list, it's actually at-rest encryption that's based on whoever you add to it has access to that.
Well, it's a one-to-many rather than a one-to-one, but it's not reversible, and you're relying on some other method of validating or authenticating every member of the group. You're not solving that problem. You're making the assumption. If they're in the group, they're allowed to be in the group. They have a reason to be in the group.
Exactly. Actually, what we want to do, we want to build a key management platform which can be easily integrate any existing access management system.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was going to be my next
even
question, and open-ended. Tell us about your plans for key management, which you already started to.
So you're asking about the...
Well, tell us a little bit more about your key management schema.
Oh, yeah. So we are building a public key infrastructure but based on proxy encryption algorithm, which basically means that, again, each user of BeSafe has its own private and public key pairs.
Right.
Our server should enable the user to access his application and his encrypted file from many devices. And for doing this, actually, we protect the private key with the user password key.
Okay.
So, which means that the user has a secret password which should not lose or should not forget. Otherwise, he will lose access to all his encrypted files.
Right.
But we never get the user password. We never store it on our servers. What we get just the salted hash of the password. And the password is used to protect the user private keys.
Right. So, it's similar to PGP or
right.
Exactly. That's the same way. But
and the secret key is always going to be in possession of the user, the client. You're not storing secret keys anywhere.
Exactly. This is the essence of providing zero knowledge security, so-called zero knowledge security, which means that our servers should never get access to any sensitive information of user, either his files or encryption keys. What we get, we only learn the public key of the users and the proxy keys, which neither of them can use to decrypt any information of user.
Right. You're re-encrypting for the intended recipient, group member.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, this reminds me very much of the solution that I had to deal with in enterprise when we would do full disk encryption back when full disk encryption was starting to just become a thing. Was that we'd have the user that could decrypt and maybe the admin user that was responsible for managing them, as well as an organizational unit key that everybody in the organization had access to, assuming they went to the break glass. scenario.
Yes.
But this is sort of that organizational type of key mentality, but being able to do it dynamically. Hey, tomorrow Bob needs to be able to access all of these things. Well, great, add his key, and it's done.
Yeah, and there is no need to touch all encrypted keys, which should be shared with the new user. There is no need to perform file-specific cryptographic operations for sharing the file.
Yep. So my question would be, and I know you sort of showed the administrative interface for the individual files. I'm assuming it's also very easy to revoke those proxy keys.
Exactly. You have a circle of trust, which means you just have the contact list of the user. You can just remove anyone with one click from anywhere from your just having web connection.
Excellent.
It's like when he's like, "This is the circle."
So removing
This is
proxy
you,
key.
and this is moving outside. Yes. Yes.
That was in a movie.
Meet the fuckers.
Meet the Fockers. Yes.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
And to show the potential of proxy encryption, actually, I like to bring the example actually of building a end-to-end encrypted social network or end-to-end encrypted Twitter. So let's assume we want to build an end-to-end encrypted Twitter. So we have thousands of followers. The followers should be able to read our tweets, but not the servers, not the social service. Could we implement it with current crypto technologies? No. Can we build it with the PGP? No.
Not dynamically, no.
Yes, so imagine you have thousands of tweets and you just add the next follower. You want him to be able to read all your tweets. What you should do, you should come back and re-encrypt for all your previous tweets for this new follower. Of course, it's not practical. But with proxy encryption, you just create a proxy key for your no follower, meaning and you are done. He will be able to access all your tweets.
I like that. That's
Well, and I think in the age of cloud computing and in software as a service, platform as a service, this is immensely useful,
huge.
right? Because you don't want to, and that's the reason I think people are skeptical about moving to the cloud, so to speak, is they don't trust the cloud provider, right? And this would help with that transition because now you decide who you trust with your data because it's encrypted and providing an easy way to manage it. So that's what I got out of it anyway. I hope I'm on point there.
Agree.
Because anytime we start talking about Alice and Bob, you see all of us like with that look on our face, like we're thinking, we're like noodling on it.
Yep. Yeah. Alice and
I
Bob.
even saw Jeff do some noodling over there too.
The little smoke comes out of the ears.
I want to know when Carol and Ted come into the conversation.
Complicated.
See, that's the thing, Jeff, is that Carol and Ted should never come into the conversation.
I think they should.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we have to rename the movie.
That's right. That's a good point.
Yes.
Any more questions for Aram?
Yes, I have another question. Many years ago, I don't want to get into a long story, but let's just say PGP has an issue in terms of being able to compromise the key rings and just basically stealing the secret key off a client. How have you guys addressed that or solved that risk?
I'm not sure I'm familiar with that specific attack, but the protection of private keys actually is something that should be cared by the user itself. So now we just enable the user to store. We just don't get the private keys, don't store it on servers. We just ask the user to protect his device.
Okay.
So can you provide some specific of the attack?
Well, it's what I've been kind of thinking about lately. It's kind of like the gas station attack. I think they, in a similar manner, if you're going to douse yourself with gasoline and let yourself on fire, then you're going to do that. And there's really not much you can do to prevent that. The same thing you can't really prevent someone from not putting a password on their private key or sharing it publicly on GitHub. Oops. I don't know if there's anything there with my gas station analogy, but
Other than sometimes you are a gas station.
yes, that is.
Well, actually, that's more Mark than any
It is. Mark is the master in that department.
master gas.
Things have gotten a lot better since we switched to cocktails from beer, because in the beer days, especially when we were in the little studio in your basement, that was lethal.
gas station.
The gas station, all right.
Less than desirable.
Well, Aram, so people can learn more at besafe.io, and you said you're in an accelerator program. Congratulations on that. And
Thank you.
We thank you for sharing your knowledge here on Security Weekly.
For those that are listening, can you clarify the spelling of BeSafe?
Just be safe. B-E, safe.
Got it.
So the idea is cloud
it
is
could
not safe. We just want you to be safe with us.
Because it could be the letter B safe. It could be B dash safe. It could be
like
BEE safe. So I just wanted to make sure those who are listening and not necessarily reading.
It's just be safe.
Got
be
it.
happy.
None of those fancy spellings, like when everyone used to leave the E out in words.
Web 2.0, that'd
Web
be...
2, remember the Web 2.0?
Yeah, we now do Web 3.0 where English is important.
Yes.
Where are all those E's?
Yeah, someone stole them all.
E.E. Cummings used 2 of them, but
Right.
it's before the internet. Never mind.
Aram, thank you very much for appearing on Security Weekly. It was nice meeting you.
Thank
Best
you very
of luck.
much, Paul. So, thank you. So
Thank
see you
you.
next time.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We are going to take a short break, come back, and I'm going to do a tech segment on my printer hacking adventures coming up next.
First, I need another drink.
And
Gain control of cyber risk with Tenable.io, the first vulnerability management platform built for today's elastic assets like cloud, containers, and web apps. Discover a fresh, asset-based approach that prioritizes vulnerabilities while seamlessly integrating into your environment. And improve ROI with the first elastic licensing approach based on assets, not IP addresses. Tenable.io delivers the data and context you need to secure your elastic attack surface. Start your free Tenable.io trial today by visiting Tenable.io. Signal Sciences is the industry's first web protection platform that works in any cloud, any container, any platform as a service, and any modern application architecture. The Signal Sciences web protection platform can be deployed in next-generation WAF, RASP, or reverse proxy modes, giving customers ultimate flexibility and coverage. Protect your web applications with Signal Sciences web protection platform. Signal Sciences, protecting applications, connecting teams. For more information, check them out at signalsciences.com/PSW. Onapsis is the leading provider of solutions to protect ERP systems from cyber attacks. Customers can secure their SAP and Oracle business-critical platforms from espionage, sabotage, and financial fraud risks. Visit them on the web at onapsis.com.
Welcome, everyone, to Paul's Security Weekly. This is our technical segment for today. Before I jump into it, want to mention domain tools, domaintools.com/Security Weekly. Tim and Kyle will be presenting on how to find bad guys based on information from domains and IP addresses. They are the experts in this area. You should tune into that. So, this is Paul's printer hacking adventure. Couple things.
Dude, rocking it old school.
Rocking it, well, to the old schools, yeah. I mean,
old school is the new school, right?
I should preface this with... other than, I believe, the one newer piece of information is the completely automated way to basically capture all the print jobs going through the printer if your printer supports that. I don't know how long that's been out there. I want to say Heinz, Jens, is that Heinz?
Heinz, yeah.
Heinz,
I think so.
Heinz Mueller is the researcher, and he's the man when it comes to printer hacking. He's got some YouTube videos out there of him presenting. He's the man when it comes to this. I'm not the man that comes to this. I just read and took what little I knew about hacking printers because I had done some stuff before and read the documentation, such as the PJL documentation, which I highly don't. Well, I do recommend that you read it. I'm not saying you're going to be enthralled when you read it, because printer job language is, it's printer job language. So props to Heinz, hacking-printers.net. Basically, you can go there and do exactly what I did. He's automated a lot of the techniques. If you search for someone like the PJL commands, you'll find some other super cool techniques like those that come from one of your coworkers, Jack, at Tenable Network Security. Did you know this?
No, I did not know that.
His the best blog post I've ever read on printer hacking. I vaguely, Jacob Baines.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Jacob, you're the man. Just throwing that out there because I believe it to be true. You hack some printers, you wrote a blog post for Tenable. Jacob has put forth and published a Python script that will essentially shovel a shell back to you if the printer runs Linux.
Nice.
And if it has Netcat. Bob, did not find a printer that had Netcat already installed. I suppose you can find one or compile one and upload it. That'd be interesting. But basically shovels a shell over Netcat from the printer, which I thought was really cool. And that blog post, the PGL documentation, hacking-printers.net, and are all in there, as well as Tenable, and the Shodan search for port 9100, which is the the ports you use to connect to the printer. So props to all those people, because I'm just really summarizing their research, and I just played around with some of the tools and techniques that you can do on printers. Now, one thing I do recommend you go watch Heinz' YouTube video where he does the presentation. He basically starts at the beginning and kind of walks you through doing all of the printer command stuff, but starts with some interesting things that I don't know if you've ever sat there and thought about exactly how your printers work. Like most of us I think, listening, fall in my camp where I freaking hate printers. Like, they just are. We've
It's all
all
right.
been in the.
It's all right. They hate you too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they do. They do. And they
people
started it.
and
Damn
the
it.
People that hate the people that make printers hate you even more.
Yeah.
And you know who else hates printers? Boris Federlich. Sorry.
I thought he loved printers.
Well, he does. It's a love-hate relationship.
Oh, I see. So now, because
Depends on whether he gets to be on top.
Yes, exactly.
it's like so many inside Facebook jokes there. But so we all hate printers because we've worked in support roles where we had to support printers,
Just like Boris.
just like Boris, and so we hate them. But in any case, this is your chance to get back on them. There is a destroy command in there, which
So what is it? What did it do to your printer?
yeah, I so wanted to run it. And Sam, our director of operations, is like, don't do it. She's like, I need the damn printer. Don't do it.
What's Amazon's return policy?
Yeah.
Did I say
Red
that?
printer exploitation kit. Like,
Yeah,
do you think I'd have to
No. What's wrong with that?
Oh.
Stop
It's
working.
too bad there aren't big box store. No, that would be wrong.
That would be wrong.
That would be wrong. That would be just.
Yeah, because I'm sure the support from printer manufacturers is great. You know what's other is interesting is that if you search on Shodan, again, the link's in the show note, port 9100, you'll find some Samsung printers. Samsung has shut down their printer facility,
Yeah.
product support. I'm not sure how long they're going to support the printers. In other words, they're not motivated to fix printers because they've essentially said like this business unit is useless
Port
to us.
9100 and Samsung.
And Samsung is
Destroy.
to destroy. Yeah, it would be this,
Destroy.
this would be bad.
Bad. That would be bad.
This would be bad. So I don't know if you've thought about exactly how printers work. Like the driver, printer drive. I know. It takes your document and puts it in a language.
Printers work. Wait,
Yeah.
let's back up to say work. What?
So here's how you try to print, right? It takes your document, it puts it into a language that the printer can understand, and then the printer does those instructions and prints it out. So one of those languages is PJL. I wouldn't use language so much. It formats it in PJL, so to speak, and then prints it out, and PJL tells it what to do, how to format it.
PJL is what, print job language?
Printer job language, yes.
Okay, just checking.
I love the. I mean, there's such a mess.
It's horrible, dude.
So tangent back to worlds you've lived in, and I still do. When my weekly Nessus scans run off at the house, I had to add an exclusion for one of my
you
printers.
don't anymore, Jack. You didn't know this?
Oh yeah, no, because the weird specific printer I have, it prints one page with one word on it. And my printer just spits out a page of paper.
No. According to my friend Jacob, Tenable released the Nessus plugin 100461 in late May to detect the vulnerability he talks about.
I've been on the road so much.
Yes. Also,
but
changes were made so that Nessus no longer causes port 9100 to print during service discovery.
Right. So this was my standard full whatever. And, I had the exclusions and all of that set up, but this was a weird version of an HP printer. It was an older, very old one, unsupported, but anyway, it would print a single page with the word help on it. And it's just creepy as
That's pretty
hell.
funny, actually.
I would come back from being on the road come back from being on the road for a month, and there would be 4 sheets of paper on my printer, and everyone just said the word help.
Now,
remember the story back in the day when I scanned with Nessus?
And they kept feeding the paper.
Yeah, they felt nearly a box full of paper into the printer.
But they fixed that. At least Jacob says they fixed that, and I trust Jacob because he's awesome.
We've been trying better and better detections, and it's been getting better through the years.
But now here's the thing.
The sad part is you had to fix Nessus and not
instead of the printer. That's the yes.
It's not really a fix. It's a.
It's an
crutch.
obfuscation.
It's a crutch.
Yeah, it's an
exception to be made because Anyway, so the other language is, of course, Adobe's PostScript. Now, PostScript, which I didn't know, is a Turing complete language, which means there's like over 400 different operations, variable. Like it's a complete programming language.
The beauty is that Adobe takes security so seriously. I'm sure there are no issues.
Oh dear God!
Here.
I almost spit my drink on my computer with that one.
So, what Heinz describes in his presentation is, he's like, well, so this means that you can apply logic to the printer, make it execute PostScript every time something prints, which is why we started the show out the way we did, that for every print job going through the printer, you can apply logic and do things like search and replace text in the document on the fly as it's going through the printer. Looks great on your screen. After it passes through the printer, it gets your special modifications and does things like replace the word security with penis, which is how we came up with the opening skit.
Paul's Penis Weekly.
The show.
It's a really short show.
That's Paul's Penis Weekly. So that's just one of the attacks. Now, of course, you could be, and that's not the most devastating attack that you can do. Of course, you can manipulate those documents going through. You can also, using the printer exploitation.
Oh, you could fix all of you kids' writing style and put 2 spaces after a period. I just
and Oxford commas.
Oxford commas. You could take all those pesky Oxford commas out.
So you could purposely misspell things.
People that
you could add zeros or remove zeros from numbers.
I'm sorry.
Oh, on check printers, put extra zeros.
Yeah, like think about what people print.
Yep.
Illegal documents with numbers, invoices.
Change 10,000 to 1,000 to 10,000 and add zeros.
Yeah, you could do that. So kind of, I mean, those are really not huge deals, or something that's going to happen every day in your network.
It's about to.
It's about to. Now, the other thing that you can do,
Mr. Beal, can you print my paycheck from for next week?
So, the other thing that you can do is you can watermark all of the documents going through it. That is a function built into pretty much every network connected printer on the market, is either through an image or through text that you put inside of, in this case, I believe it's PJL. Let's see if the cross command is here. I think it was PostScript that lets you do that. Yeah, unknown command. Hold on. Let me.
Should you be sharing your screen?
So my screen is back there, and they're going to put a camera on it due to technical difficulties. So I am going to connect to the printer.
Yay!
Via
autofocus. Yay!
Whoa! Someone hacked into our camera.
Dude,
come on now. This is a printer hacking segment, not a camera hacking segment.
Dude, I'm going to need more drugs.
Make it stop.
It was working for a second there, and then
autofocus.
It wasn't, and then it was, and then it wasn't, and then it was, and then it wasn't, and it's still not.
So I'm gonna. Well, Mark's doing that because sometimes it takes a second. So I'm connected to our printer here in PostScript mode. So you get to choose PCL, PGL, or PostScript to connect to the printer. Now, I should also point out that you can do these commands manually using Netcat or whatever the case may be. And you can. Well, you know what I need to print something, but can you grab that printout in the that's out there already? So if you do help and then cross,
and this is using Pret.
Yes, this is using Pret. Pret really just is a framework to automate a bunch of attacks that have been out there for a while. Although, like I said, I think the capturing capability is only available in PostScript. In there, so basically, what you do is put graffiti on all the hard copies that are printed out. And again, this is more of like a prank, right? So like, don't do this. But it goes to show that there's no controls in these printers. If you can connect to port 9100, it depends on what languages are supported by the printer. Obviously, not every printer supports PostScript. But when you're in the cross command, you have to pick a font. Gunplay was the font that I picked before. You actually can't see the bottom of my screen there, Mark, so to come back and adjust the camera again. So when I type, I would do cross, and then I would do the font, which Gunplay, they're very strangely, excuse me, named fonts on the system. And Once Mark does that, then you would print a message like all our base are belong to us, and then every time, I mean a typo there. Every time something is printed, it would print that message. Now, do you have that piece of paper, Mark? No, the one that is this one right on the whiteboard, already printed from before.
We don't believe it if it's pre-printed. You got to do it live.
Well, it is. It's going live now. If we can cut to if someone prints something from the printer, if someone can print something, because I'm not.
We have a camera on the printer.
We have a camera on the printer, so if someone prints something, it should print my message that I worked very hard on creating.
That's classy as hell, by the way.
But now, did you hit enter on your command, Paul?
No, I didn't. And this is my message from before, that every time you print on our printer, it prints the 8 with the equal signs and the D in the tildes. I don't know what that means. I just randomly selected.
You mashed the keyboard.
Yeah, I mashed the keyboard, and that was. Now you can see we have a document on the printer, so if we can hold up that document, yes, you can see. Hold it down lower, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. That gets printed on everything that comes out of the printer. I hope that's not like a. Anyway.
Contracts.
This is like that's like.
It's all your passwords.
An invoice.
It's all your passwords. It's all your passwords.
That's a password file. It's fine. So, if we go back to my screen, and since I'm connected in.
Did you change it to all your base are belong to us?
No, I didn't. I could. It just
right.
I thought that's what we were going to see.
Yeah.
I can change it to that. So it would be cross, and then gunplay is my font. All our base.
All your base are belong to us. But whatever, it's fine. No, don't. Keep going.
All your
complete with typo. I mean, make sure then we know it's really you.
Belong to us. Okay, yeah, and it says it fails the first time because it's a printer, and they suck, so I had to run it again. And then now when you print, the overlay should be all your base all belong to us. Now,
Sam, please print
something else while I'm doing something else here. So the capture command is really interesting. So basically you capture store, and it uses PostScript to whatever sent to the printer, makes a copy of it, saves out a file, and then lets you retrieve that file later. I have not gotten it to work because this printer, like if I do ls, doesn't have a writable file system inside of the firmware. There's lots of ways to enumerate that. The info command is very useful. I'll show you the help on the info command.
It's incredibly useful.
Or not.
It's incredibly useful.
Meanwhile, back at the printer.
Oh, no, sorry. I need to connect in the other mode for that. Hold on.
Meanwhile.
Oh, and you need to reset your terminal because it messes up your terminal. Yeah, I hate that.
And what did you do to reset the terminal?
Reset. Okay, so now I'm connected in PJL mode. And there's lots of info commands. So you can do info file.
I take exception to that pen testing tool that made dumpster diving obsolete.
Yes.
Dumpster diving will never be
obsolete. I agree.
Never.
Take it up with Heinz. Okay, so when I do info file system, it comes back with parentheses, question mark, parentheses. So, or quotes rather.
Right.
So what that means in PJL world is like command not found or operation not understood or whatever that is doesn't exist.
Yep.
So
don't know.
If you do debug, which is awesome, debug is great for learning, and then you do info file sys. Okay, it gives you the PJL command that it used to generate that, right? So this is obviously doing PJL info file sys, and it's returning the question mark, which in PJL means
don't know.
Don't know. I got that from the documentation. I'm like, oh, so it doesn't have a file system. That really sucks and limits your capturing capabilities. But there's how you test for it in here. So now let's see what else I got here.
This would have been okay. Go ahead.
So then if it does have a file system, it'll come back with this output right here, and it'll list out all of the volumes. I'll make that bigger for you. So it'll list out all of the volumes. Some printers have more than one volume.
Yep.
Sometimes the RAM is listed as a volume. Sometimes there's multiple volumes. You can change volume with the chvol command to change volumes and navigate around the file system with CD and LS as you normally would. You can use get and put to get files, put files just like you would over FTP, except it's all happening on your printer. Sometimes you can find interesting configuration files with it, just without dumping NVRAM, which is the other method. So there is, I forget if it's in PGL or PostScript mode. I think it might be in PGL mode, NVRAM dump. So in this one, it doesn't dump the RAM, but if there is a printer that does have dumpable RAM, it'll actually dump out the contents of NVRAM. Inside of there,
Interesting.
You can find, for your penetration testing purposes, Larry, Active Directory credentials, FTP credentials, all kinds of interesting credentials inside the memory of a printer. And who the hell is doing incident response and forensics and paying attention to the PGL PostScript commands being run on their printers? Practically no one, including about 134,000 printers exposed to the internet, according to Shodan on port 9100. Okay, so that's the NVRAM, and you can see the info file sys. Oh, and then there's a fuzz, excuse me, fuzz path command. So this is just like a little fuzzer built into the printer exploitation toolkit. It basically goes out there and tests for certain directories.
Yep.
You can see on this particular printer I was testing earlier.
There's a web server.
It does. It does have some directories that you can then navigate and poke around on some of the file systems. Yep. Fuzz blind fuzzes for standard files that might exist. And you can see in this one, there's a dot profile.
Yep.
And there's another file. And Etsy password did exist. And you can see there's a root user. And you can see that's a couple of levels down. There's actually an etc directory.
Yep.
In one tree up, and then you got to go another tree up, and there's a different Etsy directory, and that has the password file.
Yep. Interesting. I remember back in the day when we were using Hijetter, we had the ability to upload files and all that stuff. And one of the printers that I had at work, you were able to upload files to the web server directory.
Yes.
And actually uploaded an HTML page and an image of the Larry Pesce Has a Posse type of thing, and serve that from the printer.
Yes.
If the printer's still in use, it's probably still there.
It's probably still there.
Just
awesome. So you can see the info status. And what's interesting is that Shodan actually runs this command on the printers that it's scanning.
Oh, God.
And you can see the status. Like, I can tell you that some printers on the internet are low on toner. Some have no paper in the paper tray, so it'll actually display the status.
But Paul, that's not saying much. Printers are always low on toner.
Right, it's a scam.
It's a scam.
It is a scam. Okay, so obviously the capturing of the print jobs is the in PostScript mode is really, I think, the most devastating attack that we've talked about here. With access to the web server. As you mentioned, Larry, if you were able to read and write files, of course, you can put attack files on the web server. You can read the web server configuration file and do some things there. You can manipulate the print jobs as they go through the printer. Of course, capturing them is kind of where it's at. So, again, 134,000 on the internet. If you use Jacob's method, you can obtain a remote shell on the printer. And he describes that here in detail. A very limited command set on these printers as well. On some of them, if you look at the binaries that exist, you've got like ls, cd, bash.
Would you argue it's a very stripped down BusyBox implementation?
I don't even know if it's BusyBox. Like the Linux on it was some weird version of Linux I had never heard of. And it varies per printer. Again, we're using PJL or PostScript to connect to port 9100 because that's a language that the printer understands. And we're basically creating a PJL or PostScript shell. They're able to execute commands. So you can do everything that those languages allow you to do. If you want to execute Linux commands, very, very limited. Like there's no cat, which, well, that's very nice. Paul's social security number. It's really...
Wow.
Really
Witness protection program?
Yes.
But wait, it didn't have all your base belong to us across it.
It didn't. I'm not sure why that is, but you saw my my number 8 and all of my equal signs that were printing before. So that was my big kind of splash for this particular attack, was to put that text on there. Now, also, since I overlaid that text using PostScript, it will only get printed by clients that print PostScript, which is probably why when that document was printed, it was printed using some other method, PJL or some other direct PDF. There's multiple languages that the printers speak, and that's why it didn't show up. It will only print in PostScript. I had to create another copy of my printer on my Mac and tell it to use PostScript to print, and that's how I was able to do that. So, again, all of the resources are there on hacking-printers.net. And Heinz categorizes all of these attacks: memory access, file system access. There's some interesting things that I didn't really show. Obviously, there's the physical damage and destroying the printer, which I don't recommend that you do. It essentially fills up the queue of the number of copies that are being printed and prevents you from printing. That particular one doesn't do physical damage. There are some that, of course, do physical damage as well. So those are in the basically long-term settings for the printers. So, I mean, it is physical damage. Basically fills up NVRAM and doesn't allow you to print anymore, effectively rendering the printer useless, which is kind of interesting.
So, Paul, I have a question.
Sure. Go ahead, Jeff.
Have you taken a look, or would you take a look at what HP has done to address all this? Because, if you recall, I visited them earlier in the year.
Yes.
And they claim to have done all sorts of things to improve print security. And my recollection is, and my memory is rusty, is that they touched on a lot of this stuff that you're talking about.
So the printer we have here in the office is a brand new HP printer with, I believe, the latest firmware.
Right,
So,
but you need to pay for the hardening package, which you probably didn't.
Oh, I did not pay for the hardening
Pay for
package.
the hardening package.
I think security should be baked in.
Yeah, I remember having that conversation with the multifunction printer provider like 12, 14 years ago, back when I worked for a living. But before I joined Vendor Space is what I mean.
Yes.
They dumped a bunch of machines in the organizations I worked with, and everything was open.
Oh, there is.
Well, yeah, Paul, did you port scan your new printer to see what it was listening on?
I did not. I only needed port 9100.
And for the record, if you Shodan search port 9100, there are 132,389 entries.
Right. I don't think my printer supports locking. If we can switch to my output there. One of the mechanisms, Jeff, that would prevent this would be to apply a lock to the printer. This is typically a 3-digit code. So there's a couple of different things. There's pin protection, a panel lock, and a disk lock. This particular software supports brute forcing, as it's just a 3-digit 3-digit pin, and that's built into the printer exploitation kit. So you can unlock the printer, and then they also gives you the facility to lock it, so you could conceivably lock people out.
And for the record, of those 132,000 printers, there are just over 8,500 of those in China.
Interesting. I thought the number would be much higher than that.
Yeah.
That seems low.
But 67,000 of them are in the U.S.
That seems low.
And 13,000 of them are in the Russian Federation.
Yes. So
Shenanigans.
Any? I do hope this does, to Jeff's point, help raise awareness on printers. I really think that it's kind of been a novelty, and there are a lot of novelty things that I covered. I think that the capturing of print jobs via PostScript, which is what Heinz really was the researcher behind that, I believe, that really kind of raises the bar because you can do that so stealthily. It's still opportunistic. Right? It's not as good as domain admin. I was thinking about, it's not domain admin. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not domain admin. But to be able to silently sit on a printer and capture the print jobs, I think it's a pretty dangerous thing, and I think that should raise the bar.
If you think about what people print,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
there's some crazy stuff.
Oh, hey, I need an updated password address. Domain admin.
Yep.
I mean,
And some of the RAM settings could leak hashes.
absolutely. And those configuration files could either leak hashes or plaintext passwords or all sorts of crazy stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And is it wrong that I just searched Shodan for port 9100 in Guam?
No.
There are no results, by the way. Just in case you're
I like how you also have a paid account.
Of course
Why
I
would
fucking
you
do.
not have a paid account in Shodan?
Dude, why would I not?
Why would you only want to see the first 2 pages of results?
I want to see all 132,000.
Take my money.
And have API access. Of course I would. Come on, this is relevant to what we do for work.
It is. It is.
And
It's
I think
awesome.
I think I got my account back when it was like lifetime subscription when they were first starting.
Nice.
And it was like $30 for a lifetime type
That's
thing, and best $30 I ever spent, or whatever it was.
Absolutely.
Could have been $400, and the best $400 I ever spent.
So that's Paul's printer hacking adventures. With that, we can take a short break, come back, talk about the security news.
The penis
for this
of the week.
The penis news
Of the week.
week.
IT Pro TV is the resource to keep you and your IT team's skills up to date. IT Pro TV's team solution provides group pricing and access to their supervisor portal. You'll gain full control over your team's training schedule, see individual and group analytics, and more. IT Pro TV does IT live every day, so you know you're getting the most current IT training. Go to itpro.tv/Security Weekly and use the code SW30 to try it free for 7 days and receive 30% off your monthly membership for the lifetime of your active subscription. To learn more about IT Pro TV's team solution, sign up for a free demo of their supervisor portal. Has your network been breached? Cybereason can help you answer this question. Cybereason products hunt for threats within your network and eliminate them in real time. To Cybereason, real time means within seconds. Founded by former military hackers who don't play by the rules, they've built this experience into their platform. Harness ingenuity and imagination, not just code, to defeat attackers. Cybereason, disrupt the adversary and let the hunt begin. Endgame automates the hunt for both known and never-before-seen adversaries in enterprise networks. Built on unique knowledge on the adversary's tools, techniques, and tactics, Endgame's centrally managed agent prevents, detects, and responds to advanced adversaries in the earliest stages of the kill chain without prior knowledge. Endgame, automate the hunt. The average time between being hacked and realizing you've been hacked is 1 year. Can you afford to let an intruder roam your network for that long? Can your company weather the fallout when this comes to light? Black Hills Information Security can find the bad guys in your network and train you to do it yourself. Email consulting@blackhillsinfosec.com to find out how a hunt teaming engagement can help you find a persistent threat in your network.
Welcome back to Security Weekly. This is the security news for this week.
Penis news. Welcome to
The penis news for this week, where we're going to talk about penis.
Absolutely.
That's different
than any other week. Nope.
I've been gone for like 5 or 6 weeks, and I was wondering if we were still doing juvenile humor. So I'm
But
glad
this
to know.
is this is a penis show.
Jack has been gone.
It's
for
a penis network. Okay?
Jack's been gone for 5 weeks, and he was wondering if he was going to get his fill of penis this week.
We are the source of penis news, is what I'm trying to say. Somebody hacked my postscript, and they're just replacing it in my brain, Jack. If people didn't watch the previous segment, I guess it's table stakes. They're listening to Security Weekly.
Yep. Jack.
If you didn't hear the previous segment, we talked about printers and being able to replace words in the print jobs
In real time.
So you would replace like the word security with the word penis.
And that would be the only thing any printer ever made has done in real time.
I was going to say that.
Well played, Jack. Well played.
I kind of feel like when
Aside from run out of toner.
when I manipulate the printer in that way, it runs slower, but it's kind of hard to tell because it takes forever to print anyway.
Define slower, exactly.
Yeah. And I was going to like put a warning like, your printer might run slower when you're capturing the print jobs, but no one's really going to notice.
But does it recalibrate and realign the heads after you...
I printed 1 page. Why are you printing 4 pages to fix it? Why were you not print black from the black cartridge when magenta's empty?
Oh, God.
So we go back many, many years to people hauling a printer out into a field screaming PCL load letter while slamming it with baseball bats. And this is where we've come.
We were trying to get some B-roll of me actually smashing a printer.
We have you smashing laptops, that's for sure, and falling on your ass doing it.
Well, I think Riley said that he was going to smash one and then jump on it and then fall because that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Clearly. I think I dug up those videos on my hard drive the other day.
Yeah, we have them.
I think I have the source.
Now us talking about them, if the producers are on point tonight, just like magically, they'll play.
And the potato cannons against laptops.
That they have that.
So here's the question:
somewhere.
Are all the pieces out of your backyard yet?
No longer his backyard.
No longer my backyard.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. No longer your backyard.
Not his problem.
Are all the pieces out of that yard yet?
Probably not.
No, those pieces.
All right. So what do you guys think of Salesforce?
Oh, God. So we have 2 stories we're going to talk about, and I'm just going to say this right up front. These stories are a lot more complex than a lot of people are making them. And if they were as simple as some people are making them, then the people making them simple would understand.
But
But there are all sorts of issues here, and I'm going to be really careful because suppression of research is bad.
Yes. Well, so Jack, before we get into that,
we should tell people what the fuck we're talking about.
Exactly.
Right.
Let's set the frame.
Do you want me to set the frame? Okay, so
set it up. Yes, set it up.
2 researchers from Salesforce.
Salesforce Red Team.
Salesforce Red Team. There were senior engineers, Josh Schwartz, the director of offensive security, and John Cramb, a senior offensive security engineer based in Australia, got permission. So this is the way I understand the story from what I've read. Got permission to present at DEF CON from the powers that be at Salesforce. Salesforce says, this is fine. You can present about your meat pistol, which is what they were.
And you can release the tool.
And you can release the tool as open source. And this was a red team pen testing tool to help other red teams.
Some automation.
I didn't go to the top.
Some automation.
The automated pen testing tool. I don't know any more than that. I'm told somewhere about a half an hour or hour before they were about to go on stage, they got a text message from someone at Salesforce, their manager or director or whatever, that said, you can't give the talk.
Right.
Now, I don't know if this is true, if they saw the text message or not. The reports I saw that they did not
see the
text message, gave the presentation, and then were subsequently fired from Salesforce, and now the EFF is representing them.
Yep.
So there are a couple of pieces that I will just put out, and I don't know enough, but this was not the first time they had presented it. And there was feedback from their first presenting of this material, which is rumored to be negative. And we have
negative from the audience or negative from Salesforce?
From the audience.
Okay.
Speculation could be negative from Salesforce customers.
It was an underground event. No recording, not even Chatham House rule. Some of you were nodding because you know where it was.
Yes, I do.
And people said things, but I did not see that. So this is more complicated.
And I did read in the story that I had seen that something about a meeting with Chatham House rules.
So, so a couple of people, so a handful of listeners right now know what event we're talking about.
Sure.
But in honoring the spirit of that event, I was not there this year. But this was complicated. It's complicated. Salesforce is a big company with sensibilities to executives who might be offended by this. It's worth mentioning that they rock. Look at that.
Told you.
It's worth mentioning that meat pistol, as suggestive as that is an anagram of Metasploit. Right. So they didn't just come up with something offensive out of the blue. It's very complicated. It's a big company with a lot of sensitive customers.
But so here's the thing.
And we don't know enough, but I feel bad anytime researchers get shat on. So let me put it this way. I think silencing researchers is bad. They didn't really silence them because
they did it.
Fuzzy Nop and they presented anyway.
Yeah.
Josh and John created this tool, okay? Who gets hurt more so than usual on the internet? Who gets hurt by them releasing this tool?
It is possible that their employer suffers reputational damage, which is destructive.
By them releasing this tool?
Because they're associated with that. Now, I'm not defending the employer, but I'm playing as somebody that...
Oh, my God! Salesforce makes attack tools!
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So
playing devil's advocate.
No, absolutely. And so that's... And I'm not defending Salesforce. I just want everybody to think through all sorts of angles.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let's come back to the folks that gave this presentation are part of our community. They're folks that we know, and I'm sure it could have been handled better. I leave it there. It could have been handled better.
So hold on. I'm going to go back to your argument about looking at it from a different lens, which I appreciate, and I'm glad you brought that up. So Salesforce could be concerned that they're associated with this attack tool that could be used for evil and suffer reputational damage.
Right.
But now, what's worse, that reputational damage or the reputational damage they're suffering now in the security community?
It's
essentially
the damage. All right, so here's where years of dealing with executives and being in vendor space comes in, and I'm gonna be straight up. Pissing off our community is irrelevant. We are irrelevant because we don't sign the
Purchase orders.
$100 million plus POs for those contracts. And if I hate that, but if you don't accept that there are people who think we're irrelevant, who have control of budgets of billions, then you need to rethink the way the industry works. I'm not defending that. I'm not saying I'm happy with it.
It's the way it is.
The reality is, and this is where
it's not a security product. It is another Salesforce is not a straight security product, right? Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're going to go there, Salesforce, hell, if you can pop a company's Salesforce implementation in your pen test or attack, it's game over, right? You can destroy a company if you can mess with Salesforce, and you don't even have to do much. You know,
just delete it.
Yeah, I mean that's big, but I mean, you can just move a few things. So, Salesforce is not a security company. They have some very knowledgeable security people.
Oh yeah, I'm not knocking their security at all. I'm just saying
but when you get up to the executive level, people think like executives, and I wish this hadn't happened. I hate when people in our community get screwed. Don't lose sight of that. But this is a really big, complicated issue with one of the most significant players in information, in cloud space, right?
Yep. And I would argue, get screwed over something that is ultimately a tool that is going to help benefit, but everybody's security.
How much? I won't even name any. Think about how many tools there are that people have released or even are commercially supported that companies get screwed over because of the reputation. You're probably all thinking of the same one. It's an anagram for meat pistol. And that company, where we all have a lot of friends, whether or not some of us have or currently work for a competitor, doesn't matter. They fight a reputation because some people abuse a tool.
Yep.
And it's complicated, and people that think there are simple answers to things are usually simple people.
Yeah.
But that said, let me go back to my point. I hate it when our friends get fucked. Let's just put it right there. I hate it when our friends get fucked, and I don't know enough more about it other than that. I just want to make everybody understand it's complicated. If you think this is simple, it's possible that you are simple. That doesn't mean we have to be happy with it. We don't have to agree with it, but it's really a complicated issue.
Yep.
And but I will go back to I hate it when our friends get fucked.
And I'll also argue that our friends getting fucked potentially leads to some of our other friends getting fucked a little bit more gently.
Yeah,
meaning that red team group is got a lot of folks in it, and some of them are now looking at this going, shit, what the hell did I just get myself into, and want out.
That's true. And then there are other people in security at that organization and acquisition organizations who know this industry inside out, upside down, who are wedged in the middle and can't say a thing.
Yep.
And, there are some really amazing people still.
So what you're saying is, if you need to recruit red team... Now's your time to go on LinkedIn.
Well,
or if you want a job in Red Team, apparently Red Salesforce has got 2 open positions. Just saying.
I don't.
Black Hills Information Security is usually hiring. In Guardians is usually hiring.
I do not know I don't know if either of them have accepted, but I heard a rumor.
Job offers were.
I heard a rumor that job offers were made within hours.
Yes.
But
hold on. I just want to say that I don't know Josh or John. Everything I've heard thus far, the fact that they had job offers after, the fact that they didn't read the text messages until after they presented, and the fact that the EFF is representing them, to me are all pieces of evidence that tell me that Josh and John are our friends, that they're good people, and that we should support them. And Josh or John, I don't know you, but everything I've read seems like you're really nice people, so I hope it all works out for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was no malicious intent.
They're our people.
I didn't see anyone commenting on social media going, well, those guys were assholes anyway. There was not one comment like that.
No.
So. So yeah, I hope it all works out for
I
them.
hope it all works out. And it's sometimes everybody's right and everybody's wrong.
Yes.
I think that they shared stuff that they had done, shared research in a tool.
Right.
Their employer has a different
Yep.
view of the world.
Well, they've got a different
and
people they report to, essentially, right?
But now reading this article, that one of the ones that they said, and they said there was a meeting that was held under Chatham House rules that wasn't aware of this, but the quote, Salesforce executives were first made aware of the project in February meeting, and they had signed off on the project. What that meant, really, but if the approval was granted in February to go do this,
we don't know all of the details.
We don't. And pure
so I'll go back to my point. When our friends and peers get fucked, it's not good.
Yep. And
the corporate doing good for the community from their perspective is different from the people that are responsible to stockholders and stakeholders at
Agreed.
Salesforce.
Agreed.
And there's a clash there, and I'm not defending or either, except
defending or endorsing.
hopefully everybody, even though I'm playing this down the middle, my loyalties lie in our community. My loyalties lie, but I want people to understand all of this shit is complicated as hell. And I hate that it is, but like I deal with those kind of people. And I've in my role at besides Las Vegas, for example, I've finally owned it. They gave me the title CFO a few years ago. It was like, I'm treasurer. But it's like, no, I'm the legal finance and compliance dude. And it's like, oh,
so sorry.
Oh my God!
Wow, you're like a grown-up now.
I deal with lawyers and accountants and bookkeepers and insurance companies. And
I'm sorry. I wanted to turn it over to Jeff. I hear your fiddle playing, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff, so
Jeff, hey, look, it's Jeff. Hey, look.
I wanted to get your take on this. If you had any thoughts and/or opinions.
Brilliant.
I guess I'm more in having probably experienced this type of politically charged consequence to actions in my past.
Jeff has a story.
I have a story. Yeah, I mean, what Jack said. I mean, there's usually more to the story. It's complicated, and common sense, if I could add, doesn't always necessarily apply, or what we would think of as common sense, because
common sense is uncommon.
Yeah. Well, or intuitive sense, because at the end of the day, the people that are in the positions of power and authority are going to go through the CYA exercise, whatever they perceive that to be, however right or wrong or ill-conceived it is, regardless of what was agreed upon, written down, timestamps, and who saw what when. This stuff unfortunately happens. Yeah.
Now, another not politically charged in the political election president sense, but politically charged in the sense that we're not going to talk technical background here, right? Marcus Hutchins,
yes,
who's of course now. My view on this is changing, right? Well, like when it first came out, I was like, wow, there's a security researcher gone bad. The dude that
actually the dude gone bad went security researcher. Maybe.
He was a security researcher. He figured out what the WannaCry kill switch was. He publicized it. Turns out he had a background. It reportedly had a background doing bad things, illegal things that violated the CFAA.
Purportedly
violated the CFAA. Came to DEF CON, got arrested. I was like, well, that's too bad. But then I thought about it some more, and I said, well, hold on, wait. If I'm Marcus Hutchins, right, and let's just say allegedly I've gone out and have created malware that stole money, then I figure out that, hey, there's a kill switch for some other malware out there. You know what? Let me publicize that on social media and tell the world about it and tell the world that I was the person that, hey, figured out there was a kill switch. And then I'm going to go to DEF CON because DEF CON's a lot of fun. It's the largest hacking convention. You know what? I'm going
to be like a god there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to party and bullshit and whatever you do at DEF CON.
And he didn't even go to DEF CON.
Yeah, he just went to Vegas to hang out?
He did LobbyCon.
Yeah. So, but then I'm going to get, like, arrested. So my whole thinking is he's pleading not guilty, is his plea. My thoughts have changed that if Marcus is a smart person,
he wouldn't have come to the United States. Let's just put it right there.
If he had committed crimes, if he had knowingly violated...
Let's throw this out. You can take the if out.
Yeah.
He is a smart young man.
Yes, that's what I've gathered.
He is smart in at least one facet of life.
He is young and inexperienced. Perhaps he was naively trusting. We can put all the disclaimers from the last story to this. We don't know enough. If you read the indictment, it sounds flimsy. It sounds like not a big deal. People have asked questions like, why did they let him in? Well, if they tried to arrest him on the way in, then the UK gets involved. Because he's in transit on the way out, he's on U.S. soil, so we can just roll him up. There were things that were done, like he was basically, he wasn't black bagged, but he was kept, nobody heard from him for like 21 or 22 hours.
Yeah.
And that was uncool. One of the
he
things,
was nabbed like.
By the way, I'm gonna offend people in a state I lived in briefly. The charges are in Wisconsin. Fuck those people. By the way, Jack is using the F word a lot. Sometimes in a sentence, sometimes just to be an asshole. Because I haven't been in a while, and fuck Wisconsin. Because they keep electing Scott Walker. Because Wisconsin is America's dairyland, and those fuckers eat Velveeta.
I just,
they also eat cheddar.
So anyway,
fuck them.
I don't often apologize to listeners for things. I just want to personally
apologize for Jack.
No.
I just want to say I love our listeners from Wisconsin.
You personally want to fucking apologize, and you fucking love the listeners from fucking Wisconsin.
Let me say this: our listeners from Wisconsin, I can tell you, are awesome. It's the rest. It's those Velveeta eaters that have destroyed the state of Wisconsin.
Fucking Velveeta eaters. Let me correct.
We have listeners in Wisconsin who are awesome people. They just happen to be in Wisconsin.
Riley, Mark, prepare the explicit tag.
So wait, time out. For those of you that don't understand my hatred of Wisconsin, I spent about 50 years in the mid-'70s in Rice Lake, Wisconsin.
Hey, Paul, I can use another drink while you're over there. Grab the rye off the bar.
I spent many decades over the course of 3 years in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. So our listeners in Wisconsin now understand what my problem is with Wisconsin. So anyway, our listeners are awesome. Parts of the state are not. But anyway, they specifically chose a non-tech area. Hey, while you're down there, you want to
help? Right, he's falling and he can't get it up.
So anyway, we don't know enough. Marcus may have done stupid things in his youth, and
he may have not.
And he may have not.
The
world is
going?
Different. Here's where it's going.
It's going with some more, a little bit of that rye.
You know what? I'm gonna say one thing, and then I'm going to shut up and hope you guys have something to say.
Thank God. I mean,
here's what I'm gonna say. There are a lot of people in our communities, myself included, who are really frustrated, angry, and disappointed in the FBI's handling of this case. And I think it's been politicized. And if you are part of one of the hacker communities, by the way, I use plural because we're not all the same, and you think this has been mishandled, let me assure you that there are people inside federal law enforcement who are more irate and more pissed than we are because they've watched years of work trying to fix relationships with the research community. They've watched it evaporate over this. And there are a lot of people involved in that. Some of you I'm sure know who I'm talking about, but within the Bureau itself, there's a team of amazing people who I have personally put my reputation behind their ability to help our friends, and I have connected researchers with them. They have an amazing program that's not fully public yet. They're working with EFF so that if you are doing research and like if you're doing dark web research and find really bad stuff and don't know what to do, you can reach out to a unit within the Bureau and they will help you. And if you're not sure about going directly to them, I've said it here on this podcast and many other places over the years, you can reach out to me. Now it's gotten better because you can reach out to the EFF. They will make sure you say things carefully to the Bureau. And that's just one example of a federal law enforcement team that is out of their minds because they're people that have just spent years trying to fix these things.
More and more, Jack, I'm very skeptical of the federal government's case, as is evidenced by the prosecutor, Dan Cowhig, described Hutchins as a danger to the public after he had attended a gun range in Las Vegas and argued that he should not be bailed.
The prosecutor is doing the classic federal slander and smear of a defendant. The defense is not allowed to respond to this. They can't defend in public. The prosecution can have to be careful. The prosecution can't slander or defame, but the prosecution can make a pretty strong public case against them.
Correct. For bail.
The other one that he also spent nights in a mansion with the Vegas's largest outdoor swimming pool at $1,900 a night that he shared with 8 people.
And somebody else picked up his share, is what I've heard. I don't know for a fact, but I've
even
heard.
Still,
but even, hey, a bunch of us that run B-Sides Las Vegas shared an Airbnb that was not inexpensive, but once you divide it by all of us, it wasn't that bad. And we were able to share ideas and prep for B-Sides Vegas.
Yep. And that said,
it's one of the things you do in Vegas.
The other comment was that he also rented a Lamborghini or some exotic sports car.
No. Rented or driven are two different things that I read about. Several people, because I think it's more popular in Vegas this year, we can go drive the supercar.
Yeah, drive a supercar in a controlled environment. But having, I didn't this year, but for some years with various events, I need more space than my minivan or now Fiat 500 will hold. If you rent a big truck from Ryder, it costs, especially if it's commercial, it costs you more than a Lamborghini rental.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's not, and
but no.
So we don't know enough.
Luggage space.
So here, I hope personally that it's a misunderstanding. The problem is there's an enormous amount of damage done to the trust between our federal government, and I believe this has been politicized.
Yep,
and everybody cover your backsides. But I will say this: if you're in that jam where you wish you had a friend at the FBI, there are folks at the EFF that know of specific people inside the Bureau who can help you. I'm not encouraging people to engage or disengage with the federal government, and I'm going to, God, I hope I don't regret this, but I'll say it again. I am very cautious now. I'm not saying I've suspended contact because of the relationships I have with a couple of people, not agencies.
Yes.
They're people that I trust implicitly.
Yes.
They're sworn to their oaths. I'll put it out there again. I will still stick my neck out if you want to talk to somebody, if you stumble into things.
If you break the law, you break the law.
But if you break the law, the Bureau or whoever you go to has to launch an investigation. If you trip over something, maybe I can connect you personally with somebody at EFF if you don't have a personal connection at EFF. And then an actual lawyer can help you. And let me be clear. And if your decision right now is nope, not engaging with the feds, I completely understand that. And by the way, shut the fuck up. I'm not saying hide the evidence, but that might not
Put
be
it,
a bad idea.
hide it in that place where you hit that
that's
thing that one time.
as much as I feel bad for Marcus or what,
It's right there.
as much as
Yep.
I
We
worry about,
recovered it.
as much as I worry about someone who appears to
same
have been
color.
a good guy.
Is that the right label, though?
No, it's not the right. We should recreate the label.
But, yeah.
We're talking about that thing.
Thing
I
we
hit
hit in that one place that one time?
Yeah, Bandcamp.
No,
not Bandcamp.
Wow. With the pool on the
Look,
roof.
I haven't been here for like
Like-
6 weeks. I have to totally derail us regularly, dump obscenities. It's time for stand-up. Do I need to go into stand-up?
No,
routine?
no,
Listen, so I've got these pickup lines. No.
no.
Speaking
No,
of
you
pickup
don't.
lines, I think the guys have got this video spooled up when you and I had more hair.
And we're skinny.
Well, at least you were.
No, we're both skinnier.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my God! They have
Stretchy.
the actual video
Yeah.
of us destroying.
Wait for it.
Wait. We were out of. Oh. Yep.
That's flashbacks.
You can't tell me I didn't do a good job editing this video.
You did a fantastic job editing this video. It is the model for video editing here at Security Weekly.
That, my friends, is a kung fu master right there.
And the sad part is that I've learned is that when you do some of these high kicks, because I do karate now, and you do some of these high kicks and your other
fall.
foot comes up off the ground because you stretch too far, that means you're working hard.
You fall. Right on
So
your
you know what,
butt.
Paul? You were working your ass off on that one.
I was.
And you were working your ass on it, too.
The funniest part of that video, though, for me, I mean, falling was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in that video where Twitchy's doing something, like setting something
Twitchy.
up.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you see Twitchy look up, and like his eyes get really big, and he runs off, and then like I come in with like a gigantic axe.
Yes.
Twitchy.
Yeah, those are the days. The days. We need to do one of those again.
Well, we tried to recreate the magic of that several times. We did Thermite.
Yep.
We did the swinging on the trees.
Yep, with the axe and the baseball bat.
Yeah, yeah. And then we poured beer on laptops for 10 year. Is that 10 year episode
Yep.
500? One of the two.
Yep.
Special one here.
Yep.
That's why our snake, that's why you always kind of hear us complaining, like, well, my headphones are cutting out because beer gets poured in
beer.
this.
Yep.
Beer and
Yep.
We bought a new fancy one. We can't get it to work, though.
Don't.
Excuse me, but we'll get there. So
Moving along.
wait. Look,
Moving along.
we need to move along, but I'm just going to put myself out there. So really, if you find shit and you wish you could talk to the FBI and you want somebody that will like tell you, you guys can find me. I've connected a few people with them, and I've told a few people that they should probably talk to lawyers first. So we all want you to be safe and do good shit, and we want the folks that used to work at Salesforce to land good jobs, and we want Salesforce to be secure,
And we want the folks that want out of
and we want the
Salesforce to get good jobs, too.
right? And we want the FBI to protect us and not screw our friends if they don't deserve screwing. And kumbaya. I'm shutting up. I'm going to drink more. I haven't had enough drink.
Larry,
Dangerously sober.
is everyone ready?
Rainbows and butterflies.
Is everyone ready for your penetration test?
Nope. Nope.
What are some?
Nope.
Now, when I mean ready, what Jason is describing here
Nope.
from Secure Ideas is not from a risk or security architecture or security process procedures, security program aspect. He's talking about basically logistics.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Like
Wait. Can we add in emotionally ready to hear what you're going to find?
yes, I would agree with that. But what Jason's talking about is
wait, my baby's ugly and vulnerable?
No, but it can grow up to be the prom queen. We said that multiple times. Yeah, go ahead.
user accounts, code stability, whitelisting, making sure you have the right access, and other administrative headaches.
Nope, and nope.
Gotcha.
And as part of that, over many years, we've modified said processes to take into account much of the lead up that goes into that. Hey, we need to do a pen test. Oh, we're going to do it over VPN. Great. We need another month. Start that process now. And when the user IDs come in 2 weeks in advance, great. We're ready to start the test in 2 weeks. Let's test them now. Oh, look at that. They don't work. Yeah. So it's very much one of those cat and mouse type of games. Are they ready for your pen test? The answer is many times nope. In some cases where you're coming on site to do an internal or some red team stuff, the answer is also very much mostly.
Yeah.
And not that that's a bad thing, thinking about this from the converse. When I was there and I was asking someone to come in, it was very much when the guys were pulling out their laptops out of the bag, it was, oh, crap, you guys need network ports. I didn't think about that. There's always something that someone, and I won't say the pen test vendor or the recipient of said pen test, forgets. Yep. Hell yeah, we got a conference room for you. It's great. We've got 4 ports. Oh, wait, there's only 2. Crap.
Who's selling the pen test and who's doing the prep and the setup and preparing the customer?
Yes. Again, it all depends, and this is one of the things that we've learned over many years.
Is it the same person?
Not always.
You guys still do you have?
Not always. But all of our sales folks have a lot of technical involvement from other folks. It's very much still the same way we used to be it in Guardians, is that the guys sold the gigs. The guys sell less of the gigs, but our technical staff, our sales staff, involves technical folks.
Right.
Last week, I spent 4 hours out of one day scoping engagements and talking with staff that we were selling engagements to, like sales engineer type stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, this is what we do. This is what we're going to do. These are some of the things we're going to need. These are some of the questions we've got. Are you going to be providing this? When we scope this gig, so that we know whether we're doing black box, crystal box, white box, you name it. How much are you willing to give us? Oh, this is a proprietary protocol. Are you willing to give us documentation on that protocol, or do we need to reverse engineer, compatibility, maintain, and so forth?
What value do you want to get out of the testing?
What value? What are you willing to give us? How much? And based on that, how much you're willing to give us is going to be some cost involved with that. And then, oftentimes, the folks that were involved in much of that scoping are involved in the post sales. So, oh, great. Hey, guys, we're ready to start scheduling your pen test. We're going to need these things. We need these technical things. We understand this business process. We know that it's going to take, we know, whether you know it or not, that it is going to take you 3 to 4 weeks to get us accounts on the systems that you want us to test with some authentication. Let's make it happen.
Can you go back a minute to
yes, sir.
What are you trying to get out of the pen test? What are the goals?
Absolutely.
Can you expound on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So we talk about to our customers. It's very much what's the end result? Do you want a report that you can check the box? Let's give you more than that. We want you to understand that pen test is more about checking the box. What are some of your key systems? Do you want us to specifically target key systems? Do you want us to specifically target users? Do you want us to illustrate on an external pen test or in a phishing engagement that your email filtering works? Or are you willing to say that you're going to whitelist us and that your email filtering will work, but you understand that it will only take one email to get in to compromise someone?
Right.
We're just increasing the success ratio of one person clicking on it by targeting the right person. We can tailor that to get that one person to click on that one email, but it's going to cost you 160 hours up front.
Right.
Or you can whitelist this, and we can send it to everybody in your organization, and one person clicks on it, and that will cost you the price of the engagement.
Or you can set up a machine, and we can just deploy some malware to it, assuming that one person is going to click on it. Right?
Assumed breach. Yeah. Go for the assumed breach scenario, and that will cost you less or equal. But now we have that component of assumed breach. Get us access to that machine.
Right.
How are you going to do that? Are you going to provide us a reverse
VPN
SSH?
Access. Yeah.
VPN access, reverse SSH. Oh, great. We needed to send you a virtual machine. Or you're going to build so there's lots of spool up to those types of things.
But it's very goal-based.
Absolutely.
To Jeff's point, when I
very much goal-based.
Helping John with that more intimately than I do now, I set the stage, and when John and I actually merged companies, that it was very goal-based.
Absolutely.
I recommended back then, and I believe it still works to this day the same way, that like forget about your perimeter defenses. Like drop us in, assume breach. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Exactly.
Let's scramble a few eggs and make an omelet. Let's see how great of an omelet I can make by scrambling up inside.
And not only that, when you scramble the eggs, you crack the first couple of eggs nice and quiet.
Yes.
And you scramble very gently. And then as the week goes on,
ramp
you
that
crack
the
a
pots
couple more.
pans.
Yeah, and
you wish somebody would.
Yeah, and then by the end of the week, you're throwing shit around the kitchen, like pots and pans and spoons and glasses,
M80s,
and you're creating domain admin accounts in the domain admins group like nobody's business. And next thing you know, you got 300 domain admins. And do they find it?
Nope. Well, in some cases, nope.
So it depends. Some folks catch on day one, and some folks by the end of the engagement still haven't caught you.
Right.
Yeah.
And you wonder if those people are truly ready from the Jack's perspective. Like, are you ready to call your baby out? Because, like, if you ramp the noise factor all the way up to, on a scale of 1 to 10, like a 17, and you still didn't get caught, like...
Yep, and that's very much...
Dude, you weren't really ready for a pen test,
You know what?
Like, come on.
You know what? We're a brand new company. We've never had a pen test before. We want you to come and do a red team.
No.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Let's do it this way.
Let's build it.
How about we do an architecture review to start?
How about
Step
we ask you a
one,
few
architecture review.
questions? When you say no to these questions, we're going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Here's
and
where
then once you do those things,
Step one, architecture review. Step two,
go fix
vulnerability assessment. Step three,
go fix a bunch of stuff. Yes. And fixing is more process than it is tactical.
I think that...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then Jack.
So, I mean, we're kidding about it, but I think it's extremely important, especially if you're a company looking to hire a pen testing firm. If you're not ready for the pen test, the pen testing firm should say, you're not ready for a pen test. We're not going to do a pen test for you. Let's help you with some, fundamental, remedial, whatever you want to call it, work to get you to a point that you're ready for it.
Absolutely. Jeff, it's very much we could go in and say, the customer could say, hey, we want a pen test. And we start talking to them. They go, you guys aren't ready for a pen test. But we will gladly take your money and give you some results that you're going to spin your wheels over. But for us, it is much more about what can we give you value for money? Oh, we want a pen test. Actually, you guys probably want this. It's going to cost you less. You're going to get more value out of it, so that when we come to do some of these other things that you'd like us to do, or some other company does these other things, you're going to get much more value out of it. And it will potentially cost you less in the long run.
So at the risk of offending some people, and this is far from universally true, but huge, broad, dangerous...
What is this?
Generalization. Some of the giant pen test firms just sell pen test.
Pen test, air quotes.
Air quotes.
Of whatever variety.
And a lot of the smaller firms that are very different and are more likely to say this is what you need. And sometimes, let's be candid, sometimes there's a checkbox that needs filling, and that cheap commodity pen test is what you need. But when you're actually worried about security, if somebody comes back and says, you obviously have some fundamental things that you ought to fix before, so how about if we figure out how to take some fundamental steps, and then we'll figure out how to fill the checkbox in. But, if you don't know
give you some extra value add on top of that.
Right. It's not unique to our industry. There are people that put a loud muffler on their Honda Civic and don't know how to drive. It's, right? There's some real fundamentals. It's like, hey, a weekend at a driving school would do more for your performance in whatever you drive than anything you can do to that
You know,
Civic.
I love that analogy, Jack. There was an episode of Top Gear, the original UK version before it got all weird, but the original one where there was this woman who had experience driving around a track in, I want to say Germany. It was like one of the world's most difficult tracks to drive. And everyone would soup up their cars and drive around the track. And they put her, well, they put one of the guys from the show in like this old, like, Lincoln town car and tried to get like the best time.
Yep.
And then like they'd put him in like a sports car or whatever. It was just like the analogy, like, and see what kind of time that he could get around the track. And, you know, of course he did, you know, might do better with the better car. But they put the woman who was experienced in driving the track in the Lincoln town car. She blew away everyone's time.
Because
sports car or otherwise.
You know the track. You know
how to drive.
You know how to drive, and you know the track. So you know that, like, this turn is off camber, and so this Lincoln needs to go slow through it. But this turn is on camber, and this land yacht, this land yacht I can hit it at the apex and drift all the way out, and you know
she's
the,
like
the
yelling
guy
at
in
him
the
because
Lotus.
she was in the car with him. And I forget which one they're driving. She's like, "Why are you slowing down for? Like, hit the gas. What are you doing?" It sticks in my mind when I drive all the time.
This reminds me of my recent car acquisition process where I took a Fiat 124 Spider Abarth out with somebody who normally sells Maseratis. And
Yeah. They didn't mind so much when you put it through its paces.
I don't think the people had money and not driving skill. That
Maseratis?
Did you see
the
Let
video?
me say this. I really, really wish the 124 Abarth came in adult sizes because holy what a blast to drive. It's
But
just
did you
a
see the
glorified
video?
Miata, right? It's just a glorified. But when you flog a Miata or MX-5 or the base 124, you get out and the car says, whew, that was fun. And when you take an Abarth 124 out and flog it until you're terrified, and then you let up on the throttle, the Abarth looks back at you and says, that's enough foreplay. Can we drive now?
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Or faster, harder, deeper, or whatever innuendo you want to go to. What an amazing car!
There was
with these legs, it does not work.
The video of the it's like this very petite little Japanese girl, and she gets in the car with the driving instructor.
Oh no!
She's like pretending like not to know how to drive, but it turns out she's the drifting champion.
I've seen that. No, it was the people that wanted to buy the truck.
Was it
The
one I saw? She was pretending to go to driving school.
So the one I saw, a petite Asian lady gets in a truck, and it was the drifting champion, and very much the people that wanted to buy the truck drove it, and they drove it a little bit, and we're kind of like and whatever. And she says, "You mind if I drive? Show you a little bit what the truck can do." And she takes it off road, and she gets to this parking lot, and she's all over the place
drifting
and,
the truck.
And most of the people in the truck are like, "Oh my God, stop!
Yeah,
No!" And there's this one guy who's like, "Yeah, this is awesome! I'm buying this truck."
Right?
So what I want to know is which of you guys are click and which are clack, and when did we become car talk?
Well, there's a vacancy left by that, unfortunately. But Yep. Now that you say that, I may have, in my days as a Jeep mechanic, a very long time ago, most of you weren't born yet, taken a customer who didn't think his new Jeep could handle off-road well. And I put him in my Jeep and said, I've done a few things to this, but it's really pretty close to stock. And if you want, I'll show you how to do it on yours, but I really don't want to do this to yours. And he said, perhaps he should learn how to drive. I'm paraphrasing. But actually, the most important thing I did there, back to an analogy to security,
to penis,
is that I taught him off-road driving, thumbs out. Do not get your thumb inside the steering wheel. Thumbs up. Because you'll hit shit and your steering wheel will go and you will dislocate or break your thumb. And then you're screwed, especially if you're like 200 miles out and you've got
Two busted thumbs.
You got busted thumbs. You're broken. So it's like, but back to fundamentals. You're ready for a road test. Are you ready for a pen test? You ready for a road test? It's like your thumbs are inside the steering wheel and you're off road. Don't do that. Right?
It's very much.
Your network is flat and you have common local admin credentials on every box on the network. Let's not
talk about that.
Let's not
We need to have a
pen
conversation.
test.
I've been living the karate thing lately, and it's the whole thing that comes up with the kids very much is when you punch, thumbs in or thumbs out.
Okay.
But the kids have to be taught this
because
because
have to be taught.
it's out and it's not out. It's out.
I remember
Don't want to leave any of your appendages on your hand.
I remember one of my sisters who is over a decade older than me coming home from college and like amazed because she had gotten mad and punched somebody and didn't know that thumb in was a good way to like mangle your thumb and have a swollen hand for a week.
And it's also not thumb out. It's thumb out.
Thumb out, yeah.
It's down here you hit somebody and you still jam your thumb. Out here not so much because it's here you hit with not there's lots of mechanics.
Domain admin.
But it comes back to to bring it back to security.
Yeah,
penis.
It comes back to penis.
Bring it back to penis.
It's mechanics, right? And
Yes.
I think a lot of people
physics matters.
Yes, and what we discovered interviewing some really smart people in an interview series that Grimm sponsored was the theme. One of the major themes that we pulled from that was that a lot of really smart people, from Katie Mazuras to a lot of other really smart people, said that it comes back to mechanics, comes back to blocking, tackling, and doing that. And that's really what we're talking about here today.
It comes back to the basics.
It does. But a lot of people don't know what the basics means.
I was going to say, it's for a lot of organizations in the commercial world, it's not coming back to the basics. It's learning the basics.
Yes,
They've never been taught. They've never had a need to.
And this is
many
a
of them
great
come kicking and screaming. Why do we have to do this?
Why is my thumb dislocated?
Oh, is this your story number 3?
Password guru regrets his past advice.
Yes, this was brilliant.
This is the asshat who came up with the...
No. At the time, it was brilliant.
I don't buy that. I really don't. This is the whole 8-character path, and this is a bad version of the story. I read a better version of the story, which I should have put in the show notes, but basically his suggestion was that we rotate our passwords every 90 days and that they all be shorter passwords that replace letters with numbers, special characters, and mix uppercase and lowercase and fit into that neat 8-character moniker. And it's just bad advice. And unfortunately, it's ingrained into the culture of people outside of security, so much so that I find when you suggest to people, just type a sentence. Type a sentence and use 2-factor authentication. The looks I get from people are like, wow, those two things in one sentence, people's heads literally explode. They're
and a sentence with a space in it.
Yeah, they're
massively increases your.
They kind of look at you in two things. They're like, wait, that's not a password. And then, secondly, what the? All right, so we're only getting an explicit tag. What the fuck is 2-factor authentication?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got these tokens, and then I have to plug them in, and they're like,
oh, that's hard. But hell,
no, but they don't. Not that it's hard, Larry. They don't understand the fundamental concept of multi-factor authentication.
Hell, when you go to log into your thing and make it text you a code, not the best, but better than none, right?
So there are a lot of major social media companies, all with varying support for multi-factor authentication. Some of them support really nice multi-factor authentication. Google's done a great job with Authenticator. Believe it or not, do you know which one Facebook supports?
No.
So this is a problem because Facebook made a very public announcement a while back that they support YubiKey.
Interesting.
And even security people are like, what? What do you mean it support? I'm like, no, dude, it supports YubiKey. Like, you can use your YubiKey with Facebook. You can use it with LastPass. And it's a great thing. You can use Google Authenticator as your second factor for Google, as well as your YubiKey.
I've been using a lot of Authy.
Yep, Authy's another one.
Yep.
And so I just think that the level of education we need to do for security-minded people and for the large on this whole two-factor authentication on using good passwords, like, we're still not even there.
Yep.
And that's really frustrating.
I have to use a username and a password. So
that's two-factor, right? No. So I had this issue.
And not SMS. Not as so like dear
wait. It's so you're right. You're absolutely right. And you need to go on that rant. But if you're not even doing SMS, I'll forgive you for using that as a stepping stone. Now, Paul, go forward.
I agree.
Go forward, because it's because if you pop your fucked.
But
so and this with the SMS
what?
stuff, I will argue that I had this issue where I had to change some passwords because I know that there were at least one or two of them that had been compromised.
You had some browser issues.
Yeah.
I mean,
I went through and changed everything, and there was this one site that I spent a week trying to change my damn password. And by the end of the week, I said,
Apple ID on iCloud.
"Oh God, don't get me started.
No,
don't get me started. That wasn't it. Don't get me started. That wasn't it." But there was another one that I said, "You know what? I'm not.
So I'm not alone.
I am not hugely concerned. I'm not hugely concerned if they get my password because I have two-factor authentication enabled." And even that two-factor authentication,
even if it's SMS,
will only send an SMS text message to a specific phone number, which happens to be mine.
But you,
I still changed it after I was finally able to complete the damn process.
You protect your phone. I can't pick up your phone and get into your phone.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Kind of thing. Like
He would.
Go ahead.
You protect your.
Larry would never hand his unlocked phone to
Go ahead.
John McAfee.
You
in a bar.
Oh, I did. No, never.
You protect your phone, right? Like there's a passcode there, and you keep updates on your phone.
Yep.
Not everyone does that,
Right.
and that's my beef with SMS security. Is not everyone is at like the ninja level that everyone on this panel and most of the people listening to the show are at with protecting their phone.
Although,
like we're reading articles like, what can I do to improve security on Android? What can I do to make sure I'm doing all the steps I need to protect my phone? Like, what if I lose my phone? We have access to customer data. We have access to social media accounts on our phone. We protect them. Not everyone protects their phone the way we protect our phones, and that's why I have a beef with SMS authentication.
Right.
And I really like a separate two-factor, even if it's Google Authenticator. I think that's way better.
If
Right? Than the alternative SMS, which is
one of the things so they're not a sponsor, but Duo, if it's a Duo app and does the Duo push, it's pretty sweet.
Yep.
Google Authenticator.
Great solution.
The Google Authenticator works well. If you're using Microsoft apps, you have to use their authenticator.
Fine.
Which, by the way, if you're using two-factor auth on Skype, with the Microsoft Authenticator, I refer to that as three-factor auth because you have to try twice because Skype has botched it. I've figured out it's not the Microsoft Authenticator, it's Skype that sucks. So that's three-factor auth because you have to try two different codes for it to work.
Nice.
But one of the things I've started to see, and I won't name them yet, but maybe soon I'll call a vendor out. They forked one of the open source authenticators to make their own, and now you have to use their two-factor thing. And so because of things, I have two phones, and I have an RSA app, I have a Google app, I have a Duo app, I have a Microsoft app, I have
Do you have a YubiKey too?
Other vendor app.
and I have unnamed vendor app, and yes, there are YubiKeys somewhere else too, but it's like and then we wonder why people don't even put passcodes on their phone because we've basically said we hate you so much that we're going to make this impossible.
I like having the physical second factor in whatever I authenticate to because of the level of security that I'd like to have across all of my applications in the beef that I have with Twitter. And then we look at Instagram, right? Now, Facebook came out and said, hey, we're going to support YubiKey. Yeah. I'm like, great. And then I read in the news, Ariana Grande's account got compromised on Instagram. And I'm like, well, Instagram's a Facebook property. I'm like, they must support. No, they don't support YubiKey.
No, there's also the usability trade-off. And how many of us, most of our listeners, and I'm sure all of us here in studio, have apps that you've turned on two-factor auth, and they only ask for two-factor when they feel it's important. But that first step sometimes gives you a foothold places you shouldn't have your foot without consent. I mean, if you have consent,
and God forbid I should enable two-factor authentication on my iCloud or my Apple account, and then can't fucking use my Apple TV.
But it's getting
shit!
It's getting
when you're sitting there with your iPad, 2 iPhones, and Apple Watch, and you are so desperate you call a phone a genius.
It's getting better.
Let's put it this way: I changed my Apple iCloud and such password, and it took nearly 4 months for me to actually enter the same damn password every time, to say, "Oh yeah, that by the way, that's actually your password."
Oh, wait.
It's getting better.
As long as we have the explicit tag, I'm going to say a really dirty word now. It could be worse. We could be talking about Okta.
Moving right along, Paul.
So
there's the explicit tag.
The YubiKey Neo has the NFC on it, which I've had some...
Oh, by the way, don't use NFC with anything with your Windows or Android mobile devices because they're unpatchable. You saw what Aaron Crawford and his crew came up with at DEF CON, right?
No.
Yeah.
Fuck. But they still...
No, unpatchable.
Yeah, but they don't have my second. They can get my phone.
Right. They can own. So it's two-factor with real two-factor. But again, to the SMS, if the phone is owned,
right, which is why I.
Which is why you should use an RSA key because at least they protect their private.
But I can NFC with my YubiKey to my Android phone.
Well, there's your problem right there. I'm just kidding.
That works. Right, even if there's attacks against NFC,
I've pivoted my career through the years, and bartending is coming up because
they still need to physically possess my second factor with YubiKey, which is why, whether it's YubiKey or some other solution where you physically need to possess, and I think that gets back to the heart of multi-factor authentication. It's something I know and something I have.
With the NFC,
how do you insert your YubiKey into my iPhone?
I don't know. I don't use an iPhone, so it doesn't.
Or how do you insert it into your Android phone?
I don't. I NFC.
Right. So I don't need to possess. I just need to get close enough to NFC your
You need to press my YubiKey up against the back of the phone. So you need to physically possess or
challenge accepted.
Be close enough to me to press up against my...
You know that NFCs are embedded. NFCs are embedded in like business cards now. Right?
Shall I pour you another drink, my friend? In fact, I already did.
Holy shit! But that's the. So for all of you that were hoping this would be, look, he introduced me at the beginning, so I'll take credit for this being a shit show. All right, it's 6 weeks since
it's fine. No, it's fine.
But it's a valuable shit show.
No, it's fun. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's complicated.
I still like having a physical second factor that I can hold. I don't think
my
problem
like to be
is
held too.
Yeah,
which
I
is
do
why
too.
we call it penis security.
Right. And
thanks, Jeff.
That would be penis. So we call it penis. But I like to physically possess the second factor in
not software type thing.
But my concern is I don't know what the tolerance level of the average user is for that. As I run into the thing where I'm like, shit, I'm in the basement and my keys are upstairs.
And that was where I was going with that. That would never, for a use case, that would never fucking work for me. Because you talk about most people in that I would argue would put their YubiKey on their keys, which includes their house key and their car key. I work from home. Do you know where my car keys live?
You forgot.
No, they live in the ignition of my truck, parked in the garage. Literally in the ignition, pulled out a little bit enough so when you open the doors, it doesn't go ding, 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 ding.
So you know what I've done?
And then, do you know where my house keys live?
In the door.
In the door.
No, I don't know where my fucking house keys live, because if you can find them, I'd like them, because we've never locked the doors.
So what I
Seriously, like
what I've done with my second factor, and again, my concern is that users that you have to care enough about security go through this inconvenience, and that's my concern.
Yeah.
But I carry like my YubiKeys on me, like my keys, except these are always like my car keys or my house keys.
Yep.
I carry my YubiKeys basically on like a big key ring, like I have here all the time.
Yep.
And that's just like
my passport.
Yeah,
And
that's like what's on my person at all times is my, and I've got more that I'm playing around with than I should probably have.
Yep.
But the other nice thing is they have a USB-C model.
Nice.
And my Linux laptop and my Chromebooks now
Or USB-C.
are USB-C. Because the other problem was if they're USB, I'm like, oh, I got my YubiKey on me. I can just,
Fucking adapter.
Now I need an adapter. Like, where's that adapter? That was bad.
And so for me,
May I interject?
yes,
Yes,
please.
please do, Jeff.
Because you're rambling, frankly.
Yep.
I'll allow it.
Discussion on a mailing list that I'm a part of with a bunch of NSA alumni. We were talking about this whole password thing, which is where this got started. And I won't say who it was, but somebody, you would recognize the name, was telling the story about a company that they worked for. They did a study of where they were basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically to sum it up, they were saying they tried to implement security, and the way that they got to do some basic security was to convince the CIO that it was going to be a whole lot cheaper for them. They would save a whole lot of money in terms of support calls if they did particular things. So the summary statement, which is what I want to read to you, and which I think is the fundamental problem that we spin our wheels on over and over again. The summary statement was the real driver that made change was the CIO seeing improving IT operations would reduce his costs, and a side benefit was increased security. And I read that and I thought, yeah, but the trick is to get CIOs to see improving security with a side benefit of improving their costs or reducing their costs.
And on that note, thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
We're going to end the show.
Is it over yet?
Yep, it's over.
Please make
now.
it stop. Let me
it's official.
channel our listeners. Make it stop.
There's a bunch of stuff in the show notes that we didn't get to talk about. Lots of fun stuff. Go read them.
That's a good reminder, because like you two actually put thought into show notes regularly. Sometimes I do, but like I'm just a hanger-on these days. There's
Larry,
good shit there.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone for listening and watching.
Hell
I
yeah.
apologize about all the penis references and the
No, you don't.
foul
F-bombs.
language. No, I really do.
It's
But sometimes it has to happen.
Sometimes it has to happen, and,
Next week
it might happen again.
we won't say fuck or penis once.
I can't promise that.
We can't
but
promise.
We'll try.
we'll try.
try.
We'll try
Hey, some-
harder. Next week we'll try harder.
Well, I probably won't be on next week, so your chances of coherence and are better. Your chances of obscenity are less.
If you want a cleaner show in terms of profanity and sexual innuendos, Enterprise Security Weekly, Hack Naked News,
My Security Digital
Tradecraft
Life,
Security Weekly, Startup Security Weekly, and Secure Digital Life are all shows that we created that are like 25 times cleaner than this show. So cut us some slack. This show was our
But
venting.
if this show were completely clean, how many complaints would
well, we
you
would
get?
like lose a whole this
Right,
is our
this is-
like
it's-
venting. We're
it's- look,
drinking and
it's-
commiserating.
You listen, folks. You could set up a grandstand at the local septic treatment plant and wouldn't see as much of a shit show as this. So this is what it is.
For a cleaner show, tune into Hack Naked News.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Or any one of the ones Paul just mentioned.
Yes.
Or continue to come here and enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Just-
At
that's
our
all right.
expense.
Hey, look, even if you're
We're
commuting-
rambling again.
even if the kids are in the car during your commute, remember they
Larry,
have to
Larry,
learn those
take us
words
out.
someday.
Larry, take us out.
Larry, take us out, please.
Over and
Penis.
Out. Fuck.